I really do think life is a lot more fruitful and enjoyable when we allow ourselves to be intimate with the present moment. I think a lot of us are so focused on what was and what could be, and we never truly allow ourselves to be focused on what is. And life is meant to be lived in the what is. It is truly in the what isness of life that we find all the joy, find all the peace, find all the abundance that life has to offer. And I think for this reason, it's important for us to lose ourselves in the present moment. And when I say lose ourselves in the present moment, what I mean is lose our ego and our false sense of self in the present moment, right? Lose our fears, lose our doubts, lose our worries, lose our insecurities, lose our anger, lose our hatred, lose our resentment, right? Lose it all to the present moment. It's kind of like when you're watching a movie or a show, right? You're watching a movie and a show, and you're so invested in that movie and show to the point in which you completely forget about everything else except the movie that you're watching, right? And to some degree, you even lose track of time. To some degree, you're not concerned, about anything that's happening except that movie that you're watching in the moment, right? And I think in this same way, life always provides us with something that we can immerse ourselves in and lose ourselves to in that moment, right? There's always something that, we can sort of become intimate with in the present moment. But I think if we don't look for it, then how could we ever find it? If all we look for is our problems and our worries and our troubles, and we don't really look for the abundance and the beauty that is in our lives, then how can we ever find it? How can we ever find it and become intimate with it? How can we ever find it and become one with it and immerse ourselves into it, right? I really believe that there's always something to be grateful for. There's always something that we can appreciate in the present moment. And in order to find that thing, then, we need to look for it. In order to find that thing that, we can become intimate with and lose ourselves to, we have to, I guess, make the step to look for it. Like this morning, for example, I woke up, right? And I woke up in a really, happy mood, happier mood than usual, right? I always wake up kind of happy for the most part, right? Not all the time. But I wake up for the most part always in a happy mood, ready to experience a new day, experience a new life, right? But this morning specifically, I woke up and I have like a morning routine, right? I wake up and I have this book with a specific quote for the day. I usually read that and then I journal for a little bit. And then if I have time, I might meditate, and then after that, I, go along with my day, right? I get my day started. But this morning I woke up and, I journaled and I meditated, and I found this great sense of peace. I found this great sense of tranquility, right? I found this great sense of happiness and love, right? And I found myself being so intimate with my morning routine, right? I found myself in this state of peace and love, and it was beyond anything else I have ever experienced before. And at that moment, I really began to realize that there's always something that we can find joy in. If something as simple as getting up and writing in my journal and meditating, right, brought me so much joy, then that means that there's always something that we can be intimate with and find joy, in the present moment. And the more I live, the more I experience life, the more I begin to sort of develop a sense of gratitude for even the smallest things. The more I begin to find joy in even the smallest things, right? The smallest things to me, have become some of the grandest and the biggest things, right? And I think that's what happens when you sort of allow yourself to be intimate with the moment. You find joy in whatever it is that you're doing. I think a lot of us are always waiting for something extravagant to happen, or we're sort of postponing our happiness to, the future, right? We believe that something needs to happen, something grand needs to happen, right? Either we get a new spouse, or we get into a new relationship, we get a new job, we get a promotion, we make a certain amount of money. We believe that those things, or those grand things, need to happen for us to feel happiness and feel joy. But that's a fallacy. Whatever feeling that we want to feel can be experienced by, I guess, living in the moment. Whatever grand feeling or whatever feeling we want to experience can be experienced if we sort of try to find joy in the simplest things and not wait for the extravagant things to happen for us to feel joy. And the more I live, the more I realize that. The more I live, the more I realize that the present moment always provides us with something that can bring us that joy. But very often we don't look for it. Our minds are so focused on what we lack and what we don't have. And very rarely do we take the time to appreciate what we do have. Very rarely do we take the time to appreciate the abundance that is all around us, and the abundance, I guess, that is in our lives, right? And if our attention is focused on what we lack, then that's where we sort of place ourselves, because wherever we place our attention is ultimately where we place ourselves. And if we want to experience abundance, if we want to experience, I guess, the fruits of life and all that life has to offer, then it's imperative that we place our attention and our focus on the things that we have abundant in our lives, right? If we want to experience joy, it's imperative that we place our attention on things that can bring us joy. Why waste time focusing on what we lack? Why waste time focusing on the things that we're, I guess, waiting to happen that haven't happened yet, right? Stripping over my words, right? We can't place our attention on the abundance all around us. And there is abundance always all around us, right? Abundance isn't even what we have, right? Abundance is who we are. We can always experience abundance. We always can. But I think it requires us to be intimate with the present moment. In order to experience that abundance, we have to learn to live and be present, and not waste time in worry of the future, or being caught up with past events that, don't even exist anymore, right? Learning to live in the moment is how we get the best out of life, right? And there's always something to be grateful for. There's always something to appreciate. Most of us, in our constant running around and rushing around, we don't slow down to really smell the fragrance of life. We don't slow down to even breathe, right? We don't slow down to, take life in slowly. We really don't. We're always rushing around like chickens without heads, as if life is in a sense a constant battle, right? Life is meant to be enjoyed. Life is meant to be savored. Life is meant to be lived. And to truly get the best out of life, we have to develop the ability to be present. We have to develop the ability, to be intimate in every single moment, or be intimate as much as we can in the present moment. Alan Watts has this quote in which he says, and I'm just paraphrasing this, by the way, in which he says that the meaning of life is simply just to be alive, right? The meaning of life is to just live, right? But very often we run around and we rush around, as if it were possible to achieve something beyond ourselves. And I think in our constant rushing around and trying to be other than where we are, we really miss out on truly living life. In trying to be somewhere else, we really don't allow ourselves to be intimate with the moment and to savor the moment, right? And to get the best out of life, it requires us to be where we are. It requires us to be right here and the right now. And if you allow yourself to find the joy, find the abundance that is right here, then that's when you truly begin to live. Because life cannot be lived in reference to the past, and life cannot be lived in reference to the future. Life has to be lived, in the reference of the here and now. Because the here and now, the present moment, is really all that we have, right? And if we allow ourselves to be intimate with it, if we allow ourselves to be present, then all the joy, all the peace, all the abundance, all the love that we're looking for is in the here and now, right? So, that's it. I just really want to make that quick video, because I think it's something that a lot of us really do struggle with. Our ability to be present, is very often distorted. A lot of us are so hung up on past stories, or a lot of us spend so much time in worry of the future, and both those things really don't exist. All we have is the right here and the right now. And so no matter how problematic you think your life is, no matter how, your life situation is in this moment, just take the time to focus on what is going right for you, and don't spend so much time worrying about what is going wrong, right? Spend your focus and your attention on what is going right. And if you do that, then you will open the door for more abundance to flow into your life, right? Gratitude opens the door up for more things to be grateful for. Gratitude opens up the door for more abundance to flow into your life, right? And there truly is always something to be grateful for, right? So, yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here with me. And I'm really appreciating this journey. I really appreciate everyone who takes the time to even click on these videos and watch them. And I really hope you do get something from this video. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Give yourselves a little bit of love every day, like I always say. And try to be as intimate with the moment as possible. Because there's truly always something to be grateful for, but you just have to look for it. Peace and blessings.